You're in a war. Not a war with tanks and guns and soldiers and generals, but a war on your conscience. A war for your spirit. The weapons being used against you in this war are many. You have eugenics, which is designed to eliminate races of people that the Europeans deem useless and less desirable. This still goes on today with Planned Parenthood, healthcare, drugs, and alcohol, and the proliferation of guns in minority neighborhoods. This war uses education as a weapon, with revised histories and indoctrinations that lead most people of color, namely black people, to believe their history starts at slavery. And prior to that, they were scantily dressed savages living in the underbrush of dark Africa. Some of y'all probably still believe that. Don't feel bad if you do still believe it. It just means you were paying attention in those indoctrination camps. I mean, classrooms. But probably, at least to my estimation anyway, the greatest weapon of mass destruction has been religion and the images we're bombarded with from birth. Whose grandparents didn't have this image hanging on the wall for us to see every time we went over there? Or in church, in books, every Easter and every Christmas. Do you even know what this does to you psychologically and subconsciously? It causes a huge identity crisis. When the Savior of the world looks totally opposite of you, trust me, that affects you on levels you wouldn't begin to understand. So it becomes easier to understand why some of us hate our skin color. I mean, this gets deep. This is ridiculous. Look at this. Why we hate our hair. Imagine for a moment how your subconscious mind handles images of God's Son looking like someone totally unlike yourself. How do you think that causes you to look at that race? Do you think, as an innocent child, you may develop a complex? Do you suppose it would be difficult to process this and still love yourself? And I know some of y'all will call me racist. And some of y'all will say, it doesn't matter what color he was. Why is it okay to be taught from a Eurocentric curriculum and it be okay, but when I teach you truth, it's racist? You're fine with everybody being European, but get an attitude when I say they look like you. It's okay. That's just the brainwashing at work. The Stockholm Syndrome. Look that up. Look up the Stockholm Syndrome. Go ahead. Google it. But do you want to know what the real kick in the pants is? Now that more alert people are becoming aware of their false Jesus, they've thrown yet another curveball. Now they're saying no, Jesus wasn't white. He was Middle Eastern. He looked like an Arab. They give his color names like olive complected. Well, there are basically 3 types of olives: green, brown, and black. So, which one is it? And the term Middle East is a relatively new term. It certainly wasn't called the Middle East during that time. In fact, the entire country of Israel sits on the African tectonic plates. Look that up too. Furthermore, the original Arabs were black. The only European types to exist at that time was Romans and Greeks. Jesus was neither Greek or Roman. So, the truth is, the image y'all call Jesus is really named Yeshua. And his skin color was dark. What we would call black today. The entire creation of Jesus, or Jesus, was a European invention. It was done for European supremacy and had nothing to do with historic accuracy or deity. See, when we get to the truth, we get closer to the Most High. And getting closer to the Most High is job 1. Now, when you start looking at things with a critical eye, sans any biases, you start to uncover many lies. These are some of the oldest depictions of the man we call Jesus. Some of the paint has worn off due to age, but if you look closely, you'll begin to see what the people back then thought he looked like. Why weren't these images in your history books, or churches, or grandma's house? Collusion, maybe? Conspiracy? Look at the image the Pope pays homage to in the Vatican. As I said, the white Jesus image was a fiction. Prior to Pope Alexander, Jesus was never considered European. This is why Caesar Borgia was used as a model, because they had nothing to reference, nothing to use as a template. Look, this isn't about religious superiority or a black man trying to infringe on someone else's history. This is about waking people who have been asleep for the last 400 years. But guess what? The 400 years is up, and people are waking up all over the world. I'm merely trying to do my part. I have no hatred towards anyone. I know everyone had their part to play, and they played it to a T. My hope is to spark something in you, to have you delve deeper and stop thinking you're dealing with the white man's religion. This is your book, written by you and about you. Peace.